I'm joined with Clay Duncan and Jordy Garrett from Hausman, Garrett, Duncan, and Mann. And we have been fielding the Social Security workers' comp questions that you guys have sent in. So y'all ready to keep going?
Yes, ma'am.
Certainly.
All right, here we go. Here's my next one. I've had a bad injury 2 years ago, and even though I'm young, my doctors are telling me that I will never work again. Can I apply for disability even though I've only worked a few years?
Yes, this person can. The question does not supply how young the worker is, but I think that's getting at the issue of insured status for disability. Generally, the requirement to be insured for disability with the Social Security Administration, you have to have worked enough and paid in enough to be insured for 20 of the preceding 40 quarters before you become disabled, which is essentially 5 of the 10 years preceding your disability. Some younger workers can become injured, perhaps such as this caller, early in their work career. Let's say they're 23 years old, they've been working for a couple of years, had a bad injury, become disabled, but they haven't been working long enough to become insured under the requirements for a general worker who's older. Therefore, the rules are slanted for younger workers. I believe if you're under 31, there are kind of special provisions that could render a person insured for disability benefits at a younger age, even if they may have only worked a couple of years. So I don't know for sure. You can contact the local district office in Paducah or Mayfield or wherever is relevant to your residence and learn whether you have insured status for disability. But don't despair if you're a younger worker, because there may be an option for you.
That's good to know. That is really good to know. Okay, our next person says, I was going to wait and draw Social Security retirement until I turned 70 to get the higher benefit. I had an accident and was recently awarded disability. Can I draw disability until age 70?
Well, I don't think so. If I understand this correctly, this worker is now getting disability benefits at an earlier age, perhaps before their full retirement age, which is generally going to be about 67. When that worker, if let's say you start getting disability in your late 50s or early 60s, when you reach your full retirement age, your benefit, by virtue of a letter from Social Security you'll get in the mail one day, will simply transition to a retirement benefit at full retirement age, because at that point, Social Security doesn't care whether you're disabled or not, because you're due the benefit either way. The question this caller has is whether they could at age 70 switch over to getting the premium benefit, which you could otherwise get if you wait until you're 70, if you're not disabled, not getting benefits, and take your benefit for the first time at that point in time. I don't think you can do that, because according to this caller, if you're already getting disability and at age 67 you're already getting retirement, you've started taking it at that time by virtue perhaps of necessity of your disability. I don't think you can then get the premium when you turn 70.
It's just kind of what you've agreed to, so you stay with it throughout.
Right.
Okay, all right, good information. Our next caller says, my employer had me using a bandsaw without a guard. I cut my hand really badly. Can I get pain and suffering because of what they did?
Well, there's no such thing as pain and suffering in Kentucky workers' compensation. A lot of people ask that question, and it just isn't so. However, there's the possibility, if the employer violated a safety rule or regulation, and this would not be the first or second time that I've talked to somebody or represented somebody who had a bad hand injury because of an unguarded saw, there is a 30% safety penalty that is assessed on any income benefits. So for example, if you were entitled to get $100 a week because you took 3 of your fingers off, unfortunately, you'd get $130 a week for all of the time that you were entitled to benefits. That 30% also applies to any temporary total disability benefits that you receive while you're off work, receiving care from a doctor until you are permanently, placed at maximum medical improvement or recovered. So no pain and suffering, but a 30% bump if there's a safety violation.
Okay. Well, obviously, the pain and suffering thing you hear, but that kind of sounds like it's taking care of it without taking care of it.
Right. Pain and suffering is in a personal injury case, and there's no such animal in Kentucky workers' compensation.
Gotcha. That's why you guys are such a valuable asset. You know these things. Well, y'all, thank you for coming with me today and answering our callers' questions. We'll have more for you next time.
Our pleasure.
When you guys come back.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
And if you would like to revisit this segment of Legal Line, log on to WPSDlocal6.com/Legal Line.
And just before we go, we're coming up on our big move from the station here on Television Lane to the Paducah Sun Building in downtown Paducah. That means some programming changes to keep in mind. Following our 10 o'clock newscast tomorrow night, our whole operation will be moved downtown. Some has already been kind of pre-moved. Well, because of all this, there will be no Local 6 Saturday or Local 6 at 6 Saturday evening. We do plan to be up and running from the new space on Saturday night at 10.
As we head into this afternoon, we're going to have temperatures reaching only the low 80s, a little bit below average. Scattered thunderstorms may cool us off to the 70s a little bit, and some of those are popping up through the afternoon. Tomorrow, we do have a chance for some stronger to severe storms in Missouri and Tennessee, and storm coverage ends by Monday.
Nolan, thank you, and thank you for watching Local 6 Midday.